Today I am going to go over finally getting set up this this whole Prowl notebook with vLLM running. And I sort of ran into the, oh, also, by the way, I got this now on pip. Awesome. So what I'm trying to do is set up the bloke notice 7b version 1 AWQ, because the quantized models do run on a T4 instance in Colab. So now I've got my local host set to there. I've got this all set up. Nice, nice, nice. It's properly installed and run vLLM. You can see here on my GPU that I'm just within that 15 gig range. Perfect. Thanks to Haystack AI's notebook on running vLLM, I was able to set this up properly, finally. This is just a connectivity thing. This is what it should return, detail not found, because this actually isn't any sort of a thing. Geez, I should probably use better words. This URL would have said like not connected if it wasn't running. So, all right, now let's check out a very basic call using Prowl stack, and this is the error that I'm running into. So I ran this, and it did the first part, right? 48 tokens, and this wasn't a problem with Mistral, because a good note, Mistral actually has an infinite input, an infinite context length. What does that mean, though? It doesn't have a hard cap on a context length, but it stops using transformers after 4096 tokens. What does that mean? Well, okay. So imagine you have your prompt and you ask it for more than the amount of context tokens in your input token, like in your input prompt. What ends up happening with Mistral is that it takes the total amount of input, 4096 tokens backwards, and then every other token after that, it gets seen by an LLM, or sorry, not by an LLM, but by a more old school model, which runs side by side with the transformer. So excuse me for the mistake earlier. This model, geez, I haven't used these in so long, in LSTM, that's right. So it uses a long, short-term memory model. And these are, you know, pre-transformers, what everybody was using for sequential prediction. Anyway, so what's our error say? Because we're not using Mistral now, we're getting this error that says model's maximum context length is 2048 tokens. However, I requested 2127 tokens, 79 in the message, 2048 in the completion. So I requested that many tokens in the completion. What normally happens with Mistral, since they don't care, there's my variable. So what I'm gonna go do real quick is, I think I can just do this directly in here, because I can edit these files. So I'm going into my prompt library, opening output.prowl, and I'm just gonna request less tokens in this script. Like I'm gonna request, I'll just turn it down to 1024, because you know, we want to give enough space, but we also don't, like, this does have a little bit of an extra completion. There's a thing called a completion ratio, which Prowl actually uses. So I'll get into that later. I'll make a whole thing about completions and how Prowl cleans everything. So I'm not sure if I can, like, is that edited now? Like, if I close this and I open it back up. Oh, it is edited, nice. So that's kind of cool. You can just use this notebook directly as a way to test stacks pretty nicely. If you're not wanting to run this off of your own GPU and just want to run it on a T4 on a Colab. All right, so let's try it. Let's try it now. See what, it's working. Okay. Sweet. You know what? This is actually very close to Mistral's output. On another video, I ran this in the other notebook. Oh, nice. Okay, let's check does streaming work? Ooh, this is gonna be interesting. All right, let's see if streaming works. Oh my God. All right, so it looks like, okay, check this out. This is interesting. It did do the streaming, that worked. But what it looks like is that without running the input, right? Without running intent. So on this run, I run intent, and it does this. It gets the user intent, and then it uses that to output. And if we look at the intent script over here, we can see that what we're saying here is what is the user's intended meaning? Disambiguate the request and write one sentence about it. Its pragmatic intention. Be concise and accurate. Now this be concise and accurate instruction ends up affecting the output script because it comes in before it, right? It gets stacked on top of it because that's what we're doing here. Input, intent, output. And then I'm feeding it the variable from input because, you know, I don't have a method on, I'm not using a method right now to gather the user's request or something like that. If I was gonna make like an app specifically using a set of prompts that I got in some repository, and I wanted people to use this and like have a little form that they could fill out to like, okay, this thing makes you blah blah blah, you know, it runs, it does all its setup, and then it just runs my scripts from whatever repository I'm running this from. And then with a very simple stack setup, I could have this easily be some input from a form. Where is it? Add a form. So anyway, I won't do that here. So that is now fixed. And so the idea here is that when you're using a model which is not Mistral based, which doesn't have infinite context length, or basically like I'm using air quotes, infinite context length, then you end up with errors if you try to go beyond the context length. So obviously this model here, Notice 7B1 V1 AWQ, has a context length of 2048. I think it says as much over here on his Hugging Face website. So the other cool thing is that since this is using vLLM, we can just grab any model off of Hugging Face and sort of use whatever model we want. So you could just change that out, what you're using here. And I could probably just give an input up here somewhere, like what model do you want to actually use from Hugging Face and so on and so forth. But for now, we'll keep it at that. And we're gonna have to stick to AWQ models on this and probably 7B since the RAM requirements here. All right, I think that's it for this video because we've covered just about what I wanted to cover. I successfully ran with streaming on the, let's see if we can get it to do like a, let's see, so this is, the stream level token streaming level. And we're gonna get it by token, so maybe we should try to do something that'll give it a little bit more of a go, like write a short story about an apple. Okay. Let's see what streaming does here. Well, once upon a time. Oh, God. That is so fast. These quantized models are so fast. I think I'm going to have to switch us to a quantized model on Adventure Time. On I want to see how Mistral quantized runs, because he did have that. So where is he? Yeah, he's got all kinds of good models, man. Okay, so the bloke, Mistral 7B instruct gguff, gguff, the bloke, Mistral AWQ. Does he have one? Yes, Mistral. So this is the model of this is the model I've been using for the last 2 months, but not the AWQ version. So perhaps we could just do this. Oh my gosh. I think I'm gonna have to rerun this entire thing over again, cause I'm gonna have to like stop. I have to stop Mistral over here. Okay, and then so I input that there, and then I stick our prowl model thing here. I'm sure I could probably just, yeah, like I said, stick this into an environment variable. So I'll probably do that for the official notebook. This is just my scratch pad basically. So, okay, great. Let me pause real quick while I disconnect and delete and then recover. It's outputting, you know, our installation of the model. It's about the same size as the other 7B quantized. I mean, really the model weights are almost the same. That's obviously, that makes sense. It's just that it seems to me what it's, well, okay. I don't know, I was running Mistral like, oh, yeah, obviously, okay, I'm using a T4 here. On my other video, I was using an A10G on my own server. So that makes sense why it's faster, but this is much faster, this is nice. I'm sure you could easily do something where you, you give it using, what was that called? ngrip or ngrok. You could use ngrok to host this directly, and you would have like super fast streaming on this little ngrok endpoint. The only thing is you're running it off of a Colab, so it would only really help if you were running like prowl locally or something, and then like just had like a Colab or something that was running to pop you out a little instance of a 7B model on a T4. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, okay, so this is almost done. So obviously then Mistral, what we should get here is it'll do the input, intent, and output, and it'll be how high is Mount Everest, and it should be roughly the same type of answer, just give you a one-off. But it seems that the other model that we were using here, it was a bit more concise. It wasn't set up to be so yappy, so wordy. So almost done with the installation here. Once we get that, just that last little bit of this video. Okay, that looks right. All right, connectivity should say not found or whatever. Almost done. Yep, not found. Okay. Oh, shit. Okay. So it looks like on the quantized models, we do have the same issue where 2048 is the maximum. And I am definitely running the Blokes Mistral Instruct. So we got that 2048 tokens as max. Let me go back and just edit this output prompt real quick. It's just on that 1024. We're definitely not going to use that. Okay, go back. Try it again. Okay. Okay, that worked. Okay, let's try streaming. Aha. Sweet. Okay. That was nice. Amelia. Maybe just we'll ask the same question and see, because this is kind of like a control question here. How high is Mount Everest? How high? How high? The good old days, the 90s. All right. Sweet. All right. Cool. Cool. I'm gonna have to like boop, 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 according to 2020 revision of its height, which is an elevation. Okay, so like the bloke quantized version of Mistral actually output to me. It actually output the longer version of this, which was like, it went into this whole diatribe about the people who found it and all this other stuff. So I'm guessing that quantized models maybe somehow are generally smaller response token size, because they have like a smaller. This makes total sense because they have a smaller context window. So during recursion, during inference basically of your prompt, like generation, what we call. During generation, it just makes it so that you got your output there. That's much shorter if you're using a model with a shorter context length. Makes total sense. So they would be trained to output slightly less, or maybe even half the length outputs, right? So great. Okay, that works. Cool. Video done. Until next time, everybody. Probably tomorrow. See you then.